What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we have to talk about support.com, ticker symbol SPRT. If we take a look at the chart, we can see there is some crazy action going on with it. And this has a lot of investors very worried, right? Because we are down almost 18%, over 17% on the day. Just moments ago, we were down 18%. And you can see that support.com, SPRT, is just crashing and crashing and crashing, especially over the past couple of days. Now, this isn't to say that a lot of people haven't made a lot of money on this stock, considering that just 30 days ago, we were at $4.42. And just recently made highs of $59.69. And, here's to hoping that this thing goes just $10 higher than the last high that we had, $69.69. That would be very nice for a lot of investors to see. They'd be very excited to see that. And I think a lot of people would find it very funny. So here we go. We have SPRT, and we have an explanation for what happened here, right? SPRT was not that well known of a stock until Reddit and Wall Street Bets took notice of it and really pumped this thing up in an attempt to do a short squeeze, which was very successful. You can see, we're up over 10x, almost 15x. The highs are over 15x what we saw back over here at $4.42, almost 15x, not quite, but very close to it. So we managed to pump the stock up quite a bit, and a lot of people made quite a bit of money on it. Now, this was not just a short squeeze, it was also a gamma squeeze. If you actually looked at the options activity back in the past, for the last options expiration date, I believe it was August 31st, or maybe the 27th, I'm not entirely sure. I forget when that was, but there were a lot of open interest options on this stock, and you can see that there are still some open interest, mostly calls, right? There's still some for these dates, but it used to be in the thousands for every single strike price, pretty much. So that was it was putting a lot more pressure on SPRT to continue moving up when there were so many call options that had been purchased. Institutions who had sold those options, as soon as this thing started moving up, had to cover and buy shares of this to essentially, hedge against the options that they had sold. Now, currently, this stock is being pushed down. You can see that on the 10-day chart, on this day that we made highs of $59.69, we had dipped all the way down to a little bit below $26, actually. But 26 acted as a fairly strong support level for this stock, and since then we've kind of been hovering above that. Now, as it looks like we're actually falling through that support level, literally during the recording of this video, we are blasting through $26, and it's not guaranteed, right, that we're going to keep moving down. However, I do find it likely. If you want to know what I think about SPRT, I think that this is a very similar pattern to what we've seen with a lot of stocks lately, especially a lot of the meme stocks. They end up pumping, having a big short squeeze. However, eventually institutions double down, and once they've closed out a lot of their positions, maybe they've taken some losses. Eventually, they end up pushing this thing down and destroying a lot of the investors who stick around in these stocks. Now, that's not to say that the investors who stick around in them aren't going to make a lot of money. This actually has happened in the past. You can look at the very popular ones like AMC. If you look over the past, I believe 90 days would do it. Now we have to go back to the past year. You can see that AMC had this initial short squeeze, right? Where it went all the way up to $20 from $1.91, lows of $1.91 up to $20, and then continued to fall, right? And a lot of investors may have thought that now was a good time to sell, though it did, kind of end up hovering around a higher price than that. However, what really happened later on was it went up to $70. So, it's not always guaranteed that these pumps are temporary, right? Sometimes they might lead to more permanent or at least longer term price increases. However, that was AMC, and this is support.com, SPRT. So it is potentially a different situation, right? SPRT doesn't have the same support and the same number of people behind it that AMC did. AMC and GME were both very popular, and honestly, a lot of people still haven't heard of SPRT yet. I know that for people who are really involved in the Wall Street Bets community and people who have been trading this stock and following it, it might seem like the only stock in the world at this time, especially when you've made so much money on it, right? You've more than 10x your money. It seems like, everyone should have heard of this stock. However, there's still, and believe me, there's still quite a few people who have not heard of this stock yet and aren't involved in it. And it's unlikely, I think, that a lot more people are going to be getting involved in this stock unless we start to see another rise, because a lot of people are very wary of catching a falling knife. And they see this stock was up at highs of $59.69 and is now down to 26. And actually looks like 26 is acting as a bit of a support, right? We have now bobbed up above it again. So, potentially this could be a temporary level where we stick at, and we'll just have to wait and see if we continue to trade above 26 or not, right? If we continue to trade above 26, that could actually be very bullish, right? Because we're only down about 50% from the highs. It's not like we lost 90% of the value of this trade. And, potentially that could mean that we're in for another short squeeze or a gamma squeeze. And what I actually want to show you guys, which I found very interesting on Market Watch, the percent of float shorted is not available for this stock. So that's, it's very suspicious. And sure, it's very possible that this is just because, market makers that Market Watch is unable to find the actual data just because so many shares are trading hands right now. And it's basically probably impossible to get an accurate estimate of the percent of float shorted. However, it does seem very suspicious that they're not revealing this number here. I'm not entirely sure who's responsible for it, if it's on Market Watch's end or if maybe institutions just aren't saying, maybe they're trading in dark pools. So who knows with this one, but I do expect, I think, and this isn't financial advice, but it's my suspicion that if you were to sell now, it's my guess, right? Based off of prior patterns that I've seen oftentimes, if you were to sell now, my guess is that you would probably be able to buy back later for a cheaper price. That's my expectation. I think that, you've made a lot of money on the stock, especially if you were buying before the huge pump, and potentially now might be a time to lock in some profits. I'm not trying to scare people out of this trade. If you think that it's going up higher, then by all means hold. This isn't financial advice. I'm just giving you my opinion. If I had been in on this trade beforehand, I would probably be looking to average down my position, maybe sell some shares, not all of them necessarily, but some perhaps, and buy them back at a later price if I still believe in this stock later on, because it looks like we are in the midst of a downtrend right here. And, I just hate to see people holding things indefinitely, right, and end up losing a lot more money than they potentially could have if they got out earlier, especially retail investors. The institutions are going to do what they're going to do. But for retail investors, I think it's important to protect your wealth. So that's what I'm here to say. And if you guys enjoyed this video, then please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. No pressure to if you don't want to, but if you would like to, I would greatly appreciate it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.